Listen-only mode.
Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Masood Rahman and I'll be your moderator today. Just giving it another a minute to make sure everyone is joining here, the people that we are expecting to be here. In the meantime, if you can see my screen and you can hear me clearly, could someone please volunteer and type yes into the question pane on your webinar viewer? That would be great. All right, awesome. So you can hear me. Okay. So I just want to thank everyone so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solution. We're very excited to host today's technical webinar, Managing Tech Projects with Office 365 Planner. Please bear in mind that this is an overview of a very robust topic. We offer a collection of technical business courses that can be tailored toward your specific requirement. If you're interested in further discussion, you can make an appointment with one of our learning consultants through our website at www.netcomlearning.com. And I also want to inform you that today's session is being recorded, so you will get free access to this recording in next 24 hours via email. So let's get to today's agenda. At first, very quickly, we'll talk about Netcom, what we are, what do we do. I'll go over the webinar logistics. Then we'll have our topic presented by Shane Snips. Then we'll go over the courses that are similar or that are related to today's webinar and the promotions that are available. At the end, we will go through a poll and the question and answer session, the questions that you may have for our presenter. So let's look into about Netcom. So who we are. Netcom is an award-winning global leader in managed learning services, training, and talent development. We have trained over 100,000 professionals. Corporate learning clients we are Microsoft Worldwide Partner of the Year. 96% of our customer recommends us to other. Our instructor evaluation is 8.6 out of 9. We are named top 20 IT training company for 6 consecutive years by trainingindustry.com. 2,000 plus IT, business, and soft skill courses are available through our website. We trained over 80% of the Fortune 100 companies, and we have 20 plus leading vendor recognition. Our company was founded in 1998. Our headquarters is in New York City, but we do deliver training in all 50 states of the United States and worldwide. Now let's go into the webinar logistics. So just to give you a quick overview of the logistics, to start with, you have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. Simply hit the escape key and find the zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. So if you hit the escape key, on the top left side you have the zoom button and you can select whatever is fit to your window. Now everyone has been muted except for our presenter. Please feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenter here in the questions pane, and we'll address them at the end of the session. A PDF copy of today's presentations is also available at the handout section of your GoToWebinar. So our presenter for today's topics is Shane Snips. I just want to give you a brief introduction about him. Shane is a Microsoft subject matter expert at Netcom Learning. He has more than 19 years of experience in technology, startup, nonprofit, education, and public sector. While working for Microsoft, he assisted in the training launch of Microsoft Server 2008, Office 2007, Office 2010, Office for Mac, SharePoint 2013, and Office 365. So without any further delay, I want to pass it over to Sean right now so that he can present the topics. Okay, Shan, whenever you're ready, this is all yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the introduction there. I really do appreciate it. It's always fantastic to be on a NetCom webinar. The content that we're going to cover today is really around managing tech projects with Office 365 and its new application that it launched a couple of years ago in beta and then last year fully as Planner. So Office 365 has a component called a tile called Planner, and that tile, if you click on the sections in your upper left-hand corner when you're in Office 365, takes you into a very straightforward project management tool. And there are some other project management tools out there that have a similar format, where they have the columns and they also have the little sections below. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually walk through how you would set up Office 365 Planner as a tech management tool if you are launching a tech project. This project, as I'll go through it, is really based around pretty standard formatting that folks do anytime that they create a technology project. So what Planner allows us to incorporate are any of the people who may be on our team. It also allows us to create different options for how we want the plan to look and feel and the layout. And we can assign various tasks as well as get updates throughout the status of what's going on. So Office 365 is going to provide us a pretty robust tool to begin project management, even if you're not a project manager per se. Everyone can see who is working on various parts at the same time. So let's take a step back here and just briefly go through some of the components that would relate to this. Now, as I switch over here, you'll notice that I'm inside of Windows 10 Edge, the browser. So it works quite well with Office 365. And the tiles that I mentioned before, normally when you log into Office 365, you'll get a set of tiles like this, or you'll have a customized launch page for your organization. And you'll see that there's mail and calendar, all these different options for how you can organize your information. Today we're going to be talking about Planner, and tasks can be part of Planner as well. So we'll walk through the different ways that these items show up. You can see Office 365 has a tremendous number of features now, all great business class features that will allow you to learn about the various options. I did want to mention a couple of things here. One is Teams is new in the last 6 months of starting in mid-2015 is when they really started launching that out. And then they've expanded the functionality of Project and continue to do so online and the online versions. Power Apps has recently emerged, as well as Flow. So these are all really current tools that are built inside of Office 365, and I look forward to hopefully doing some future webinars on some of those topics. So today let's talk about Planner. And as I click on Planner, you'll see it opens the hub similar to where we were before. And we have within that hub then some plans that we currently have built out. So we have an engineering plan, we have an online marketing plan, and we have a product launch plan. So you can see even as you first open Planner, it's going to give you a list of current tasks, what's late, what's completed, and a control panel that you step into right away. This is a helpful thing to have, and it also lists all of your plans here in one location. So nothing beats a very organized view like this. But in this webinar, what I want to show you is a couple of things that relate to what we're doing in terms of IT and the IT support component. So as we go into these different hubs and the different components here, oops, wrong one. As we go into the different sections here, you'll notice I'll click on online marketing here, and you'll see that there are all kinds of material that's built out here. and you have these columns going across. So what needs to be done? Which areas are launch events? And then which areas are messaging and branding tasks? So each of these boxes represents a task, and they've been assigned to a specific person as well. And I want to walk you through how that actually works. Well, as soon as I create a new plan, I go up here to the upper left corner, and I click on New Plan. As I click on New Plan, it's going to ask me to go into it. So I'm just going to say Tech Management Project. Okay? So Tech Management Project. A couple of things happen here. Since Planner is part of SharePoint, it's going to use some of the same functionalities that SharePoint has on the back end. One of those functionalities is it creates a plan email address. So that means when someone sends an email to Tech Management Project with no spaces, as is demonstrated here, it's actually going to email that to the team as a conversation point. So the whole team can get feedback from different places, or you can have records for your meetings that are all captured in one location. And we're going to say this is no webinar demo. Okay, so I'm putting a little description information in here, and that's what also continues to give you additional information that SharePoint can then search. So if someone is searching for a plan, they can actually find it using the additional descriptions that you might add into these boxes. I always say add at least one sentence or a few words of description that are different than your title under every area. And then what it'll do is it'll actually build out those components for you. So as this creates the plan here, and it builds the environment for us, it's done quite a few things. It's created the actual tech management plan that we have down here, and that allows us to go in and see those pieces. And what I'll do for this task here, just to give us a space to do some work in the environment, is I'll make some changes to this one that we've got here. And this will give us a way to create this. So this is the Tech Management Plan demo. So I have this Tech Management Plan demo here, and then we have the various what are called buckets. And buckets are just the places that you put your tasks. Now what I've done on another screen here is I called up a very common tech project management format. So this is a basic tech project management format, and it starts out with something called project definition. So I'm going to do a quick copy of that, and I'm going to paste it into this box, because project definition is what we're going to call this whole area above the section here. So instead of to do, you see I can edit any area by just clicking on it. I can put my project definition into this bucket. I go back to my document, and now you'll notice I have within each section here the implementation plan. So the different parts of the implementation plan are laid out within this. And then I can add an additional bucket. Once I click off of it, it gives me another option for it. And I can do project processes. And I can paste that into this as well. So this is starting to feel like the same sort of basic tech project management process that folks are familiar with. So once you're inside of each of these sections, you can just start to create the various pieces and then assign the various tasks to the folks who would be working on it. That means when I go into this one, I just hit the plus sign here, and I want to add a task. So I would first come up with my problem statement. So I would go into this, and I would paste my problem statement into this section. When I then click on this section, this area, I can set a due date for this. So let's set a due date for Monday the 13th, and we'll also add it as an assignment to Adele. So now Adele has this assignment. But let's say we have additional things that we want to customize inside of these various items. We can do that by simply clicking on it. But first, let me add a couple more components into this section here. We need a mission statement because that's part of the project definition. So I'm going to hit another plus, and I'm going to hit mission statement here. So quickly type an M, and there's our mission statement, task that we've laid out. Now notice how this went above the other, and let's say I wanted to update this, right? So I wanted to go in and make changes to it. Oops. And mission statement. As I would go in here, you would see I hit enter, and then as I hit enter, it goes in as a card, and then I can move this card around. So it gives me the capability then to reorganize and reorient what I have as my list. And if you're working on a very dynamic project that has lots of different things in it, it's possible that your task could get reorganized based on meetings that happen or other items like that. So there's my project strategy, and then of course project objectives. Alright, so here's my project objectives. And if at any point I need to edit anything, I can just click on that item and it's going to pop right open for us. So I was able to make quick changes to this. But let's organize them according to what we were doing before, which is the order of the original project system, project definition document. This way all this work gets done by individual people and you have a place to keep it organized. So now with project definition section, we've got some things laid out here. We can move on to our implementation plan, or we can continue on with project scope. Now I want to show you a couple of things related to project scope here too that would give you the functionalities that you would need to make additional tasks or subtasks available. You can see I've reorganized these things, put them in the order that I wanted them. But notice in my document here, under project objectives, I have business objectives, financial objectives, performance, cost, and time objectives, quality objectives, and technical objectives under this section here. Let's say I wanted to take my business objectives and make that a subtask for my item. What I would do here is I would go back, double check that this is going to go into my project objectives, and I would click on project objectives. So I clicked on that tile, that box, that is project objectives, and now I have a checklist. So these are the things that I can add in to my checklist here. So here's my project objectives. Here are my financial objectives. I also have performance and cost, time objectives. I have quality objectives. And I have technical objectives. And all of that falls under my project objectives. So I've added these now in as part of my checklist, and I can make them show up on the card so that people are very aware of what it is. I can also say this start date needs to be by the 17th. And you could say due by the 27th, or let's say the 24th, and that'll give us time to scope it out. The other thing you'll notice here is I have the capability to add a few comments. So I can say, if I wanted to add a few more comments into this, I could say meeting from 3/2 updated financial objectives were emailed. So I've added this as a little comment down here, so now people see it whenever they go into this card. All right, and I can color code these as well. So let's say this is my development phase. So I'm going to put that as red. So anything that's really important development phase-wise is what I'm going to put as red within this section. So I would click on it to open it, and then this is development. I check it, and then that means it's active. Let's say I had a couple of these, and it was also recently changed. All right, so this tab means it's recently changed. So I have a couple of those, and I can then tag this information and make it relevant to whatever my project is currently working on or however my project managers currently build it. So my project scope statement is one of the pieces that we have. So included scope and excluded scope. So I would go into this one, and I would add included scope and excluded scope. So if I didn't want those to show, I wouldn't check this box, and I would just go ahead and close it. All right. You'll see the little notation down here, however, that says 0 of 2. That means of the tasks that are listed within this section, 0 of them have been completed. Let's say I've completed my excluded scope already because we had a meeting about it, and I can check that off, and you'll see it goes from 1 to 2. So this gives me a way then to continue to build this out. So just to finish this up, because I want, in the end of this webinar, I want this to be quite complete in how it looks and feels. So deliverables, and then success criteria. So you can do success criteria. And of course, last in this section are project assumptions. All right. Quick little update here. And one last section, project assumptions. All right. So now I've got all these laid out for myself. And if I wanted to zoom out just a little bit here, just to give myself some workspace, I'm just going to use my browser to do that. So I've got deliverables I needed to rearrange, success factors that I wanted to put down there, and project assumptions that I needed to add as well. And you can see I can rearrange them in any order that I want. So here I have them arranged. I can zoom back in now to my work mode. And my implementation plan then has its sections. So project organization, work breakdown structure. So we can do project organization. And this time, what you'll also learn here is, notice how it puts the card at the bottom. So a really quick way to make it go in the order that you want would be to start from the bottom of your list. If you're doing like I am, and you already have a project document that you're converting over into Planner, you can do it this way. So I would put them in the reverse order. That way I don't have to manually reorganize the tiles. So schedule is being added here. And then work breakdown structure is within this. One thing that this system does that I really like is it makes project management a little more approachable for your team. And because it adds so many different approachable layers to your project and what you want to do, you've got a lot of choices within the system here. And you also notice here with project process, I have project processes, a communication plan. All right, so I'm going to add in reverse order again, just so I get it right. I have a quality plan that I'm going to put into place. And the great thing about having all this laid out is if, for example, in progress, let's say I've already started this, and the start date for this quality plan was already built for a previous project, so it's actually going to be finished in a certain time frame. You'll be able to see that. And then as you progress through these items, you can also see right here, if I needed to assign, go ahead and assign this, I can do that as well. Now I just close it and it adds it in. So there's the quality plan. Here's my issue tracking. So I'm going to paste this in, my issue tracking. Go ahead and set my due date for this. Add an assignment. Henrietta's going to take care of that one. Add a task, so just keep track of any defects that might be popping up in any of the projects that we're working on. Change control. What's our change control plan that we have in place? Risk management plan. So I would put the risk management plan in here, and then we'll have that laid out. And then lastly is your communication plan. So your communication plan goes into this system like so. All right, so now I have my project plan all laid out for myself. I've got a bunch of sections in here. What I want to do now is I just want to follow through and complete the flowcharts of what I've got with this particular section, add some content in here so you can see all the charts and graphs work, and show you a couple of the other pieces of this. So within this section here, we've got project assumptions, success criteria, everything is in the sections, but we don't have due dates laid out for everything. So what we can do is I can click on the item and I can begin setting due dates based on what I want to create. So usually what happens in these types of documents is you've had meetings about this stuff and someone's documented it somewhere. And so they've kept these things laid out in other places. I'm adding these various people to it so that we have an idea of when it's going to be finished and how much is complete, what's in progress, what's not in progress, what has been completed, and so forth. And then that's going to give us a good sense of the pieces that are there. So 3 of 3 is what this mission statement is. In progress, that's when the item should be happening. Notice the difference between the date. Let's say I've got quality objectives already underway. It disappears from this particular view that we have here. And I can also update the actual section as well. So I can let folks know this is in progress. When we then look at charts, what this does is it gives us a layout of how these different tasks are being worked on. So anything in progress, anything that might have been worked on here, any tasks that are currently in place, it's going to show up for you. It's also going to give you a great overview of who's doing what and if anything is currently late. So we have 3 projects in progress, 15 that are not started, and then 0 that are currently late. Now, it's looking for what might be past due, and I'm going to move some of our tasks that we have in the system around here so that you can see what it looks like with those sorts of pieces in place. Now notice we have a lot of unassigned tasks here. Now if you're a project manager, that's kind of a signal of you're probably going to lose track of your project and your project's not going to come in on time. That will happen oftentimes because projects and tasks are not assigned to people. So I'm going to go back to my board and I'm going to make sure that these things are assigned to various folks as I hover over them. If I want to add additional people or change these roles, you see I can actually change the roles that different people have and whether they've been assigned to someone. So that gives us a really easy way to move the projects around as far as assignments go. Now, all the tasks inside of assignment are assigned to one person. So if I wanted to assign this to someone else, I would have to reassign the whole section. Anything that's been completed, of course, would also be in that completed section. The good news is there is a historical record of all the things that are being created, and notice I'm doing some shortcuts here, and what I'm doing is I'm selecting the person and then I'm just clicking off of the box and it's deactivating it and taking me to my next box. So I can make assignments quite quick after meetings if things come up in meetings. Good feedback today on the criteria period. Do you have the document? Now, here's what will happen if you turn on your email, if you set up that initial email for this. When I hit post, that will go out here, but it'll also email it to the plans inbox. Because remember, when I set up this Tech Manager plan demo, it asked me, do I want to have an inbox? And I do. So that's going to be one thing that we'll be able to use. Now I'm just going to go in here and go ahead and assign this person to this task. So Lee is going to be doing this. Change assumption list in Excel. All right, so that may have come out in a meeting, and then what I would do here is I would go, and I'm going to quickly show you guys and create an Excel document. So let's say this is my assumption document that we have here. So I have within this section quite a few areas, and I want to make assumptions, right? So this is my assumption document, and I'm just going to save it really quickly and put it onto my desktop. So I'll just go right straight over to that section, add it to my desktop, save it, and then, so this is my assumptions document. I can then go over and I can attach that assumptions document and upload it, or I can look on SharePoint and pull it in. So it looks to both locations and makes it quick and easy for us to actually add supporting documentation. So we'll go back to desktop here, and then I'm going to choose book 1 and add it, and then it'll upload that document for me and it becomes part of that task that we have. So those are the ways that you can actually add various attachments to this, and you can add components that you wanted to change as well. And I can add this so that it's visible too. So let's add a start date for this one for the 27th, and let's say it was due yesterday, Wednesday. Now I'm going to, if I go back to my charts, you'll notice something is starting to happen here. Now I'm actually able to look at all the tasks that I have laid out. You see one task is currently late. We know who it is that is late. So if you're a beginning project manager, you can use a tool like this very easily, and it's just going to give you a dashboard to control your task. It's not going to give you things like Gantt charts and so forth, but it will allow you to have access to a very visible view of task management. The other thing we have inside of this planner is its own notebook. So this opens a OneNote. So any meetings that we have related to this can then use this OneNote and add items to it. So if I'm in a meeting, we'll call this our weekly meeting page, right? So we'll call this section weekly meetings, all right? And there's our weekly meetings. Inside of this is last week's meetings, so we'll go to 2017, all right, so that's the date. And then the agenda would have been here, any additional comments that you had. The other thing you can do here, which I like, is you can insert pictures within this environment. You can add things. So OneNote has its online capabilities built into this section, and that lets you build those things out. It makes it pretty simple. And then as things get finished, you can tag them too. All right, so here I am inside of OneNote, and the OneNote sections that we've got, you'll notice I can do to-do items. So these can be things that will transfer into our planner. So if I needed, finish project scope sections by 3:14, okay? So that came out in the meeting. So that was one of the items that we needed to work with. And so that would mean I could add this back into Planner. I just copy and pasted it. And then I'll go back over here. And you'll see here's my plan. Here's my sections. It highlights the ones that have currently have issues or currently have a challenge. So here's my within my plan, I want to make sure that I get a sense for what groupings there are. And I might group by to-do or due date so that then late this week, mission statement next week, and then we can go in and we can update some items here. So I would go in and I would update the project scope section in regards to quality. All right. So that would give us those kinds of functionalities pretty straightforward and easily, and we can make that make those changes even within this window here where we have our charts. So I have the ability to update information with very little challenges as far as the need to move from one window to the other. And the other good thing about this is they're always adding new items to this section called.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So the other thing that you'll notice here as we go in is the section that we've got laid out with the components is you'll notice I've built something within the screen here that allows me to organize whether the plan demo is behind schedule, ahead of schedule, which items are ahead of schedule. Notice here on the right-hand side as I scroll through the tasks, I had the capability to organize them by due date or progress, so I can see not started, or I can choose others and collapse them up, so things that are in progress, I can view only those. This does give us a lot more sorting capability than some other tools might. This is our regular buckets definition, which goes back to the way the boards over here were organized. And then I can, of course, go back to assigned to. So anything that's unassigned still shows up here. And this might encourage me to, if I looked at this way, I could then make sure that I do assign these things to folks and get them in the right format now. Otherwise, folks may not be able to get the work done because they won't know that this is something on their plate. Assigning people to these items, it uses Active Directory to actually assign the various tasks, and that makes it simple for everyone to be involved in the process. You don't have to go out and type an email in or find an email. It's all being pulled straight from Active Directory. The other thing you'll notice here is certain people have been added into this plan, so they're part of the team, and they show up that way as well. So I only have a few more of these that I haven't actually assigned to various people. There are like 3 spots left here that are unassigned. I'm going to leave those unassigned for now, just so you start to see how this is laying out. You see Henrietta has 4, and she hasn't started any of them yet. You might be able to, if you looked at when these various items were due, that would be a helpful way to look at it. If you click on the bar that is her list, it'll tell you these items. So coming out of a meeting, if the work breakdown structure needed to be updated, then I could click on it and it would allow me to set up, this is actually in progress, started yesterday, and we don't expect it to be done until the 27th, the WBS. We have a few more meetings that we need to get into place. Let's say that one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to link straight to a page inside of our OneNote. So I could go into here and hit share, and then I would get a link to that notebook that folks can see, and then anyone inside of this could edit it. So I want to give them editing rights, and I would just copy this onto my clipboard. So now I've got this copied, and I would close it, and I'm going to head back over to my planner, and I'm going to incorporate this as a link here. So we'll call this, and we'll say this team notebook. So let's say I'm getting a lot of questions about the breakdown, and I'm planning to put the work breakdown structure, the final document, into the notebook. So this will give them a way to link back to that. And then when I click on that link, it would then go and open that OneNote notebook for the person who needed to get access to it. So we've got those kinds of items adding in. We've covered a lot here. We've talked about the various components that are part of it. A lot of people ask if I wanted to delete one, what do I do? You can select that delete button and it would get rid of it. So you do have the option to delete. Don't forget about these 3-dot ellipses menus that you have. And that's how you're able to organize them according to the pieces. Now notice here that there's members. So when I am asked if I want to add various people to a group, I would just start typing their name and it would come up for inside of Active Directory. And that's how I would add a member to my team. So the membership can then be changed and updated as it needs to be. Let's say she's not part of the plan. I added her by accident, so I could remove her from the plan. When people go into their planner, so if they're using Planner and you add them to your plan, it will show up under their plan over here on the side. So that gives you a way to keep track of any plan that you've been assigned to, and you can stay organized that way as well. I just want to show you a couple of other things quickly here. One is conversations. So what this does for us is it actually opens an Outlook note, an Outlook email, and this is the group called Tech Management Plan Demo, and it's going to list the conversations that we've had about the feedback that's going on, any information that we're working on, any kinds of things that we have, we'd be able to organize those accordingly. Now notice this is built just for my Tech Management Planner. And I have a calendar that's part of it. I have a place to put files, so it's got its own OneDrive space available for it, and it has the ability to get right straight back to Planner right here. There is a site also that you can build. So this is using the full functionality of SharePoint Online, but it's building it in a context of organizing a specific project that you're working on. So all of these items under your ellipses here are available to you, and you have the ability to organize them like that. When I choose these items under my Outlook, notice that there are some connectors here, so that's just a fast way for you to connect to other things that you might have. So if you use Trello, you can connect in with Trello, you can connect in with Twitter, you can connect in with some of the other tools out there, Asana, and that allows your teams to get updates. Now, there's two things happening here, just to clarify. The planner inside of Office 365 is similar to Trello. If you added it here, it would just give you a way for your team to get alerts about Trello. So it's not going to give you the functionality of importing it into Trello at this point. So you would get updates in that space. If your team is in the marketing side, then you might sign up for an RSS feed, and then that's going to flow into your conversations here. So your space, your planner space, is much more robust than most people realize. That covers the gist of how to create a tech management plan inside of Planner. Just to do a quick review, we talked about the board, and the board is where you see your buckets, which are these columns here, and then the tasks are inside of the columns. When I click on a task, like this one for project objectives, you can see this checklist is here, and as I complete items, I'm able to mark them off as done inside of this. And as projects get started, I'm able to change the status or update them. I can also create comments if I need to add a specific comment that I want people to notice, or I can add document attachments and links to other places inside of this particular tasks that we have. I like the recently changed tab that I created here. I've used that quite often, and that's a nice thing for you guys to keep in mind as far as keeping these things organized. People will notice that little call out when they come in, and if folks are looking for things that are have had important updates, you can also use that tagline, important updates, or you can organize according to different things that you have in your schedule and color coordinate those. Okay, so that's my overview that I have for you guys today. I'd love to take some questions. I have one or two questions already, and I'll answer those if I don't get some questions right now. But I'd love to just hand it back over really quickly and just let our moderator see what's available for us as far as questions go.
Thank you, Shane. That was very informative, and I also wanted to let everyone know that we did have a bit technical difficulties from the webinar vendor side. Some people lost audio during the session, but as I mentioned in the beginning, that this session is being recorded and you'll get a copy of this via email, and it will also be available on our website. So if you missed out anything, you can always go back and view it again. Even the part that you missed, you can just view that also. Before I get to the question and things, I quickly wanted to go over some of the courses and promotions that we have available for this topic. So we have this course coming up, Enabling and Managing Office 365, starting on April the 17th, and Microsoft Certified System Administrator for Office 365 also coming up. And the promo code for 15% discount is WMOP0203, and this offer is valid till March the 17th. And now I'll be launching a quick poll for you to take participant in to see if you would be interested in getting more information about or regarding this particular topic or course. And let me see what questions we have here so that we can get to them. Okay, so there is a question. I want to know the difference between planner in Project Online or planner or Project Online. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. I can demo that too as well. If you, it doesn't look like I have.
Presenter again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, great question. When you're talking about Planner, Planner is a very lightweight version of Project. Project gives you all kinds of functionalities, and if you go to your tiles menu up in the upper left-hand corner, and you do scroll down, let's say you're an active user of Office 365, and you click on Project, you're going to notice a different window opens up for you. So this gives you a different view of what is available for you in the space. You'll notice within this section here that I have a lot of information. So I have the ability to create a project, look at the various tools that are available to you, and all these pieces kind of pop up for you the first time you use Project online. And you'll notice when I do go into creating a new project, it's going to give me a different build-out process because I don't have the same level of flexibility. Now, it gives you some options of different types of projects that you might be able to create. So what kind of project are you looking at? What sort of work are you going to be doing? So these are starting points for you to begin your project. So even with Project Online, they've come a long way in helping folks to organize their project. Now notice here, these are the things that would have been pulled out in a project meeting, and these are the starting points for it. Now, I'm not going to go past this, but this is sort of the section where you would build out all this content that you had pulled in from various project meetings, and then once you hit finish, it would take you into another view, another section for project. So whenever you have a project that's currently running, you'd be able to work with that section. So here's my project hub. I've got all these sections within it. What am I doing within the sections? This is the task list that's currently running. And I'm very excited, hopefully in the future, to talk about Flow and Power Apps, because I think what you get a chance to do is figure out how to build workflows quickly using a process like this inside of Project and the web app. Let's take a step back into Planner here just for a second, because I want to close out with a view of Planner. The Planner section gives us, like I said, if you look at the difference between the two, one is very user interface focused, very like friendly, approachable. It's all about the tasks that are being completed and organized. I don't know the roadmap for integration between Planner and Project Online, but I can only imagine that they would want to do that at some point.
Awesome, thank you. So the other question that we have here is there an ability to multiple due date on a single card, or progressive due date on a single card?
The answer to that right now is no. Will they eventually get there with those kinds of functionalities? Probably, because they continue to build out that kind of thing. And this is an evolving product. You know, they release new things probably 3 or 4 times a year into the product. And these are sometimes you just see an additional box that pops up on your screen here. So it wouldn't actually break anything that you have now. It would just give you that additional functionality immediately as soon as it popped up. But right now, all it offers is one set start date and one set due date. So any of these tasks would need to be completed within that time frame, or you could break your buckets down, or your specific tasks inside your buckets down a little bit more.
Awesome. Now, can you sort a bucket of cards by different things, for example, due dates?
Yeah, so one of the things that you can do here is you can rename them, but your main way to sort is up here in the upper right-hand corner. So you have assigned to that you can organize by. So these are all the people who have assignments. You can see it goes all the way across. So my board became much broader and wider. I like to use the charts view to see due dates because it's easier for me that way. Progress is the only other thing you can track as far as grouping here. You can see not started, in progress, and then completed. So let's say we move this one to completed. It's going to take it off that list and move it in there. So we'd be able to see that. If we go back to charts, you're going to notice inside of chart here that I can group by due date. And that's,
Shane, I think your screen
is
is not showing here, so if you can share it again.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I just walked through all those things for you.
Yeah.
So here is the chart section. That's what I was just talking about. And inside of your chart section is your due date option for organizing. And you can do buckets assigned to and due dates. You cannot do that if you're on boards. Boards only gives you the 3 options, which is grouping over here, buckets assigned to, and progress. So those are the ways that you can do it. And I have it in progress right now, so if at any point I finish something, I can hit the check mark and it goes into that completed section.
Okay, so the next is a long question. It says, I do not only deal with a team, but also with customer. I rather limit the info I share with customer and decide when and what to share with them. Can you show me how to deal with this?
Yeah, okay. What I would do in that situation is I would create a planner that is only for the customer and then a planner for your internal team. You wouldn't be able to, right at this point, set up different permissions of what people can see, because what people can see is the whole planner if they are a member of it. So that's how they get a way to view and get access to that plan. And there would be a way around that. It's all or nothing when it comes to access to an actual planner. So what I could do is if I wanted to set up, for example, this online marketing plan over here on the right-hand side, if I wanted to set that as an external vendor version, then I would turn that, I would invite those people into that section, and they would see the items that are in there.
Okay. Can you track cost in this planner?
You could set cost up. Now, you're not going to be able to calculate it here because there are no form fields for calculations, but what you could do is if you wanted to do it informally, you could set some sort of either checklist item that you wanted to track that way so that you could watch budget items change over time. That would be one way that you could do it. The other way that you could do it would be to embed an Excel document into the actual item and then do all of your cost adjustments using that Excel document that was attached to it.
Awesome. Did you get any question directly to you? Because this was the last question at the questions pen. So,
I just had a basic overview question that came in, and it was just, the question was, when you first come into Planner and you begin it, does it always start you on the board section, and how flexible is that boards section? So a lot of the questions that you gave me were ones that were answered through that process.
Okay, I think the 2 of them just came in. So for clarification, can you invite an external member or within the organization only?
You can invite external members. If you have Office 365, you do have the option to do that.
So and the last one here is there a way to see all of my tasks together on one screen?
Slight clarification there. Is there a way to see what?
All of my tasks on one screen.
All of your tasks on one screen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So what you could do here is you could group by assigned to, and then you could go over to your name and you would see all of the tasks that were assigned to you. So Henrietta then sees all of her tasks that she has.
Okay, now the questions are coming up. Other questions. Will outside user require a MSA login?
They would require federation.
Okay. Is it linked to the to-do list in Office 365?
It is not linked into the to-do list for Office 365.
Okay. And I think someone just asked about the recording. Yes, this session is being recorded and you will get a copy of this within 24 hours via email. And also this recording is available will be available on our website as well. So Shane, any final thoughts before we end our session today?
No, just a big thank you to everyone for your questions. I really do appreciate it. It's always a pleasure getting this information out to everyone. Thank you so much. If you have other questions after you watch it, don't hesitate to email Netcom and they'll reach out to me or have another expert solve the problem for you.
Yes, great. And in addition, we have more webinars coming up. You can go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinar to register. Also, follow our social media pages to get the latest technology updates. Please refer to the GoToWebinar chat window for the links. And if, as Shane mentioned, if you do come up with additional questions, feel free to send them to webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time, and we'll do our best to get those answered for you. And we hope that you found today's webinar informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here soon. And feel free to tell your friends or colleagues about our webinars and other courses that we have. And everyone have a great day. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, everyone.